The Dallas Mavericks just made a move that's turning a lot of heads around the NBA. Daniel Gaffford, their energetic and athletic big man, just signed a contract extension. At first, the report said the deal was for 3 years and $60 million. But then came the clarification. The actual number is $54 million. And believe it or not, that $6 million difference is huge when it comes to trade flexibility and future roster moves. If the contract had been for $60 million, Gaffford wouldn't have been trade eligible for quite some time due to the league's extension and trade restrictions. But with the final number coming in at $54 million, Dallas still has the option to move him if the right deal comes along. That's the key point here. The Mavericks now have Gaffford locked in on a multi-year deal, but without sacrificing the ability to shop him around if they choose to. And honestly, when you look at the big picture, this feels like a strategic move by Dallas with the idea of keeping their trade options open. Let's think about it for a second. Dallas already has a crowded front court. They've got Cooper Flagg coming in, and while the expectation is that Flagg might play some minutes at the 3, there's still a lot of uncertainty around whether he's going to fit better at the 4 in the long term. Plus, there's Derek Lively too, who's coming off a solid season and looks like he's earned that starting center spot moving forward. So where exactly does Daniel Gaffford fit into this rotation long term? Is he going to be okay with being a backup center for the foreseeable future? That's a tough pill to swallow for a guy who's shown he can produce at a starter level. When given the minutes, when the extension was first announced, a lot of fans and analysts were scratching their heads, wondering why Dallas would commit that kind of money to Gaffford given their current roster situation. But now, with the clarified contract details, it all makes a lot more sense. Having Gaffford under contract for multiple years at a manageable number gives Dallas flexibility. Teams interested in acquiring him no longer have to worry about him entering free agency soon and potentially leaving for nothing. Instead, they know exactly what his salary will be for the next few seasons, making trade negotiations much more straightforward. And when you start thinking about potential landing spots, the Los Angeles Lakers come to mind immediately. The Lakers have been linked to Gaffford before, and this new contract could actually make them even more inclined to pursue a trade for him. Before this extension, any team trading for Gaffford would have been doing so with the risk of him asking for a huge payday in free agency or worse, walking away after they gave up assets to get him. Now, with a reasonable contract in place, that risk is off the table. To add to that, there were reports that Gaffford was seeking starting level money, somewhere in the range of $18 to $20 million per season. And looking at this new deal, that's exactly what he got. It's right in that range, which signals that both player and team were able to come to a fair agreement. For the Lakers, this means they wouldn't be overpaying if they decided to trade for him. Had the number been around 25 or 30 million, Los Angeles probably would have backed off immediately. But now, at this price point, Gaffford becomes a much more realistic target for them. From a Lakers perspective, this situation actually puts them in a stronger negotiating position across the board. Whether it's talks with the Brooklyn Nets for Nick Claxton, the Utah Jazz for Walker Kessler, or anyone else on the market, Los Angeles can now point to Gaffford as a backup option. It's a leverage play. They can walk into trade discussions and say, look, if the price gets too high for Claxton or Kessler, we've got Gaffford on the table and we're willing to pivot. This kind of fallback option gives them more control. In negotiations, there's also the relationship factor to consider. Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison have history. They've worked together before, most notably on the blockbuster Luka Doncic trade back in the day. That kind of front office connection can make negotiations smoother when the time comes. If the Lakers decide they want Gaffford, Pelinka probably knows exactly who to call and how to get the conversation started. One thing that's important to highlight is that, while Gaffford is now signed for multiple seasons, the Mavericks likely aren't expecting a massive return in a potential trade. He's not the kind of player that's going to fetch multiple first-round picks or a star in return. But even so, the fact that he's on a reasonable deal means Dallas can still ask for something of value. Whether it's a young player, a late first-rounder, or some combination of smaller assets, if you're the Lakers, you have to look at the big picture. They don't exactly have a treasure chest of trade assets to work with. They're limited on draft picks and young talent, and they've got to be smart with what they have. They can't afford to overpay for Gaffford, but at the same time, if the price is right, adding a center like him makes a lot of sense. Gaffford brings size, are IM protection and physicality, all things the Lakers have been lacking at the 5 spot. Let's also be real about the other options if the Lakers had to give up 3 first-round picks or a player like Dalton next for Gaffford. That's probably a deal breaker. But if the trade package looks more like Rui Hachimura and a second-round pick or something similar, now we're talking about a move that makes sense. On the flip side, if the Nets decide to lower their asking price for Claxton, Los Angeles could easily pivot and go that route instead. The Lakers have to play the market carefully. If Claxton becomes available for cheaper than expected, that's a move you probably make given his defensive versatility and fit with the Lakers system. But if Dallas offers Gaffford at a more reasonable cost, that becomes just as viable an option. What this Gaffford extension really does is give the Lakers another card to play. They can sit back, watch how the market develops, and strike when the time is right. Whether it's Gaffford, Claxton, Kessler, or even someone like Mark Williams, the Lakers now have multiple pots to address their need at center. Without feeling pressured to overpay for any single target, Gaffford himself is an interesting case study. He's been in the league for a few years now and for the most part has played as a backup. Last season, he averaged just over 21 minutes per game, started 31 of the 57 games he played, and has built a reputation as one of the better bench bigs in the league. That's his identity right now, an elite backup center who could potentially hold his own as a starter in the right situation. Looking at his production, Gafford's efficiency is hard to ignore. He shot over 70% from the field last season, making him one of the most efficient scorers in the league at the rim. Offensively, he's not going to stretch the floor or hit mid-range jumpers, but as a lob threat and rim runner, he's exactly the type of center that thrives playing alongside a high-level playmaker like Luka Doncic or even LeBron James, and Austin Reeves for that matter. At the free throw line, Gaffford is serviceable for a big man. Last season, he hit just under 70% from the stripe on a little over 3 attempts per game. Not elite, but definitely not the kind of liability that forces coaches to pull him late in games. On the boards, he averaged nearly 7 rebounds per game, with almost 3 of those coming on the offensive end. That's a valuable skill set for a Lakers team that struggled with second chance points at times last season. Defensively, Gaffford brings rim protection, averaging close to blocks per game. His nickname, the Landlord, speaks for itself. He controls the paint, deters drives, and makes life difficult for opponents trying to finish inside. That kind of interior presence is something the Lakers could desperately use, especially in the Western Conference, where matchups against dominant bigs like Nikola Jokic and Karl Anthony Towns are a regular occurrence. Looking at his per 36-minute stats gives an even clearer picture of what Gaffford could provide in an expanded role. He'd be hovering around 20 points, over 11 rebounds, and close to 3 blocks per game. Again, stats like these aren't everything, but they do help paint a picture of his potential impact as a full-time starter. From a fit perspective, Gaffford checks a lot of boxes for the Lakers. He's a big body, he's athletic, he can run the floor, finish lobs, clean the glass, and protect the rim. Most importantly, he doesn't need the ball to be effective. When you've got guys like LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Austin Reeves running the offense, the last thing you want is a center who demands post touches or needs plays drawn up for him. Gaffford thrives off hustle plays, putbacks, and being in the right spot at the right time. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on. The NBA rumor mill is churning once again, and the latest buzz has sent shockwaves through the league. Kevin Durant to the Los Angeles Lakers. While nothing has been confirmed, whispers from sources close to both camps suggest a growing possibility that could reshape the Western Conference. For weeks, speculation has been rife regarding Durant's future after a roller coaster season. Many analysts believe he might be looking for a new challenge, and the Lakers, ever the big game hunters, seem to be at the forefront of the conversation. Imagine the prospect of Durant joining forces with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Such a big three would instantly become one of the most formidable in NBA history, creating an offensive juggernaut that would be nearly impossible to stop. The logistics of such a move are, of course, complex. Salary cap implications and potential trade packages would need to be meticulously navigated. However, the Lakers have a history of making audacious moves to land superstar talent, and general manager Rob Pelinka is known for his aggressive pursuit of championships. Sources indicate that preliminary discussions, though informal, may have already taken place. The idea of Durant finishing his career in the purple and gold, competing for a championship alongside the other all-time greats, is undeniably appealing. For the Lakers, it would solidify their status as perennial contenders for years to come. For Durant, it could offer a fresh start and another legitimate shot at adding to his championship ring collection, while it remains firmly in the realm of rumor. The sheer possibility of Kevin Durant in a Lakers jersey has ignited a firestorm of debate among fans and pundits alike. Could this be the next blockbuster move that shakes the foundations of the NBA? Only time will tell, but for now, the basketball world holds its breath, waiting to see if this tantalizing possibility becomes a stunning reality. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.